Hello, my name is Erezi, and today I'll be showing you my book, Check 1. Throughout the book, you will see words that are in bold. Those words I will re-say in Korean, because today we're going to learn how to say some words in Korean. Check 1 by Erezi. Changu never liked Mondays. Ugh. Monday, in Korean, is 월요일. Changu never liked Mondays. They were the worst part of the week. But he had to wake up early today for his first test. Changu never took a test before, and he wanted to do well so his parents would be proud of him. As you can see, parents is in bold. So, how you say parents in Korean is 부모님. Next time you see your parents, you should surprise them. Call them 부모님. After dressing up for school and brushing his teeth, Changu goes downstairs to the kitchen. He smells his favorite breakfast. Fisherman's egg. Delicious. He runs to his mom and hugs her tight. Thank you, Yoma. She laughs. He smiles, and his mother laughs at him as she hugs her son. Yoma is mom in Korean. So, if you see your mom, maybe you should call her Yoma. She might be surprised. Changu's family was very different from everyone else's. Family in Korean is kajo. So, Changu's kajo was very different from everyone else's. Changu's mom, his Yoma, was Korean, but his dad, his appa, dad is appa in Korean, was black. And he and his little sister, his 여동생, that's a very hard word, so let's repeat it, 여동생, little sister, were mixed with both. He wanted to look more Korean though, like his mom. Changu lived with his kajo in a city called Seoul. You're right, kajo's family in Korean. Changu was a bit different from his classmates in school. Now, different in Korean is talun. So, Changu was a bit talun from his classmates in school. School in Korean is hakyo. Hakyo. Most of his friends had pale skin with straight hair. Straight in Korean is chikchin. So, his friends had chikchin hair. He had darker skin with curly hair. Changu sometimes felt like an outsider among his friends. Changu goes to the dining and sits down on his favorite chair. We have two words now. Dining in Korean is 먹다가. Favorite is a bit harder, but don't worry, we'll take it slow. 두끼 잘눈. 두끼 잘눈. Favorite in Korean is 두끼 잘눈. Appa, he says as he eats. Today is my first test today. Do you think I will do well? His appa grins and ruffles his hair. I know you will. Changu laughs. But hurry up, little man. Your friends are here. Changu jumps up and eats a big bite before waving his kajo goodbye. He sees his friends and waves to them. Then he takes his bike and rides to his friends. Changu and his friends enter the classroom. The teacher, Mr. Jung, greets him. Good morning, Changu. Take off your backpack and go to your seat. Changu nods and goes to his seat. Mr. Jung walks around the classroom and gives us pencils and our tests. Pencils in Korean is 연필. Are you ready? 연필. So, he gives us 연필s and our tests. He walks to the front of the room and tells us to start testing. Let's pretend that we're Mr. Jung for a minute, okay? 테스트 시작. 테스트 시작. Changu opens the test and reads the first section. Check 1. Do you want to know how to say the title of this book in Korean? Hana Hwangin. Hana Hwangin. Below were boxes with different races next to them. Changu was confused though. One box had Korean, but another had Black/African American. Changu didn't know what to choose. Choose in Korean is goluda. As you can see here, Changu already has his sex. He already has his gender all, but he's still wondering which one to pick. Changu looked around and saw that everyone else had already started. He didn't want to be left behind. So, he chose Korean because he was, and just like everyone else. Just like his friends. Friends in Korean is 친구. I know you've heard me say it before, but I think now you're ready to say another word. 친구. After taking the test, tested, Chenggu went home with his test scores. He waved goodbye to his friends and entered his house. Now, goodbye in Korean is a bit longer, but we can do it. 안녕 가세요. 안녕 가세요. Good job! Okay, his appa was sitting in the kitchen. Appa, he screams. Look, I got full marks. His appa grins and hugs him. I'm so proud of you, Chubs. Can I see? He gives him his test. Chubs in Korea, Chubs in Korea is a well-known nickname that you give to your friends. So, this is how you say Chubs in Korean. Dong dong hara. Dong dong hara. If you have a friend, maybe you should call each other Chubs. His appa takes the test and opens the first page. He frowns. What's wrong, appa? He asks. Chenggu, why did you pick Korean? He shows him the check page. It says check 1, appa. His dad frowns more. But you're African American too, Chubs. Dong dong hara. Chenggu looks down ashamed. I know, but it says check 1. His dad nods, kneeling in front of Chenggu with a smile. Then the rules don't apply to you then, do they, Chubs? Chenggu looks up at his dad and tilts his head, thinking, I guess not. Look at our little Chenggu. He's a bit confused, but don't worry. I think he's gonna figure it out. The next day, Chenggu had another test. Ugh. He sits down and looks at his test with a little smile. Ooh, I wonder why Chenggu is smiling. Maybe something good's gonna happen? You may begin, Mr. Jung says. Chenggu opens the test and sees the page again. Hana Hwangin. Check 1. He finishes the page and continues with his test like everyone else. I wonder what he picked. Chenggu completes his test and turns it into the teacher. We're going to learn another word, guys. Complete in Korean is wanjona. Wanjona. Okay? Chenggu wanjonan his test and turns it into his teacher. He turns around to go back to his seat when his teacher calls him back. Ooh, teacher's bold now. Which means I think you're ready for another one. Are you ready? Song-sang-nim. Song-sang-nim. Next time you see your teacher, maybe you should call them Song-sang-nim. And then tell them, I just called you teacher in Korean. So we see here, Chenggu's taking his test. Those are his friends. And there's Mr. Jung. Whoa, that's a lot of sunflowers. I wonder what that means. You picked 2, Chenggu. It says pick 1. Why'd you pick 2? Chenggu points to the boxes he checked. I did, Mr. Jung. I saw check 1, so I checked 2, because I am both. Chenggu points to himself and beams. And I'm one person. The end. At the end, I have a list of all the words that we said, so you guys can go over them yourself. Now, I know you're probably thinking, why were there so many sunflowers here? Because sunflowers mean happiness. So, at the beginning, Chenggu wasn't really happy with the fact that he was Korean and African American. He wanted to be just Korean. But at the end, he realized that he can be both. So if you're different, remember, if society tells you to check 1, check 2. Because just like Chenggu, you can be both.